सरस्वती माँ भगवती माँ सरस्वती माँ भगवती पुकरो विनंती माँ आपने के सुधार जो मारी मती माँ सरस्वती माँ भगवती माँ सरस्वती माँ भगवती वामंगे वीणाधार थी करपोष्टक माड़ा शोभ थी सोहे सवारे हंसनी सोहे सवारे हंसनी श्रुत ज्ञान नीछो अधिपति माँ सरस्वती माँ भगवती माँ सरस्वती माँ भगवती देववृंद तमने सदान में स्तवनाथी मन रमणे रमे करुणा.
A very, very good morning. You are listening to On Your Radio Solihull with Reena. I am with you with the South Asian Hour this morning. It's a little cold out there this morning, right? It's frosty. Stay with me. I am going to keep you company until 11 o'clock this morning. I am joined with a very, very special guest this morning. Just a little bit about this first, though. So a few weekends ago, I was invited to some bhajans. Bhajans, for those of you who don't know, are devotional songs, and they are sang at different occasions. And so I went along to these bhajans, not quite knowing what to expect, because bhajans are traditionally sang with a group of people, and it's normally associated with the older generation. What I got was a magical concert. And that's exactly how I would describe it. It was a concert. And you wouldn't normally hear the two words bhajan and concert together. I am joined this morning by the immensely talented Bhavik Haria. Good morning, Bhavik.
Good morning, Reena. What an introduction. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. But that's exactly what I got. So I attended this venue for some bhajans, to listen to some bhajans. And literally what I got was a concert. Tell me a little bit about what you do, and then of course we'll talk more about it.
Yeah, so essentially, I had this mission, and it's called Keep Bhajans Alive. And exactly as you introduced in your kind introduction, you know, bhajans there's so much related around that it's for the older generation, or maybe it's for sad events, but I really, really think that there's so much more to bhajans. I think that I love them so much. I enjoy singing them. I enjoy understanding the meaning of them. And I just feel like if we can help a lot more people do that, we can keep this music alive. And also it's a beautiful tradition that, you know, if we don't continue and we don't keep up, it's going to fade away. So yeah, this Keep Bhajans Alive mission is basically trying to do that, but in a different style, bringing in different instruments, which we can talk about as well.
You're so right, actually, when you mentioned there that bhajans are associated with sad events. I think the only times I have probably only been to bhajans is to remember someone that has passed away, or when someone has passed away, and that's about it. You don't really tend to listen to bhajans at any other times. And as a nation or as a community, I don't know why why we do that.
Yeah, so for me, my journey began with my granddad, my bapuji, and he used to be part of this group of people that used to go to different people's house every week, every Thursday evening, and they used to sing bhajans. And they all took a turn to sing a song, and it was, it was hosted at different people's houses for whatever reason, whether it was a birthday or to remember someone. And I used to go along and, I used to take my keyboard, which was probably 4 times the size of me at that time. And I used to just sing a couple of bhajans. And that's where it began for me. But that's also where I understood that it wasn't just for sadder events or for funerals or, whatever it was. And I think it's so much more to it. Over the last 10 years, we've performed 50th birthday parties. We also did a 30th birthday party, and they just wanted bhajans, which was incredible.
Wow!
And things are really changing. But we've got to keep this work going and this mission going to ensure that it stays.
I'm really intrigued about this 30th birthday party. So was it like literally a bhajan concert that you sang at a party? Did people join in? How did that work?
Yeah, it absolutely is. It was, so all of our concerts, our public events are concerts, but our private events, we don't really call them concerts, but they seem to turn into these events where they feel like concerts. And the reason I think that is because people attend, and they attend thinking that they're going to a bhajan event, and they already have this perception in their mind of what to expect. But then they turn up and then they see a young guy singing bhajans. Most people think I'm from India, but I'm born and brought up in the UK. They see that and then they have a little bit of a shock. And then they see a drum kit. And traditionally at bhajans, you would have lots of percussions, these instruments called manjira and, tablas. But we have a drum kit. And then you look on the other side, and we've got a flute player, a traditional Indian instrument, a bansuri, but we've also got a saxophone next to him. So all these things, people sit and they appreciate and they understand. And actually the number one thing that people come up to me at the end and say is, I go to so many bhajans events, but I never stay until the end. And today I've sat here until the end and I've really immersed myself in the music. They may not understand what they mean, but they've connected with the music and they've connected with whoever it is they believe in, whether that's God or the higher power. So yeah, there's so many exciting things happening. And I think it's just the beginning. Yeah,
and you're absolutely right that people have this this idea of what they are going to go and watch. It's like when I came to see you perform, I obviously didn't know that you were performing, and I came and I was convinced that it was going to be on the floor, white sheets, everyone sat down on the floor with their manjiras, someone maybe on some tabla, a harmonium, and I even came with my jabbals ready to take them off. And when I got there, what I saw was something so different and something so magical. And I remember at one point you saying that, it's going to be a bhajans for a couple of hours. And I remember thinking, a couple of hours of bhajans. I kid you not, that time went so quickly. I did not feel like I was sat there for a few hours listening to bhajans. It was incredible.
Yeah. Time always goes so fast. I wish we could always have longer sessions, but obviously timing and venues and whatnot. But coming back to what you mentioned about sitting on the floor, that's probably one thing that I miss. That intimate feeling when there's some people sitting on the floor. Of course, you have chairs for people who aren't able to sit on the floor, but it just creates a really nice atmosphere. But yeah, time always flies.
I think you're right, actually. That whole sitting on the floor, it almost creates this this environment of togetherness. And traditionally, I'm guessing that's the way bhajans were sang, right? Everybody sitting on the floor, your guests sitting on the floor, your artists possibly sitting on the floor as well?
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, I have a knee issue, so I sit on a chair sometimes. But otherwise... Yeah, and even now we're becoming a little bit particular about our stage setup, and I want to make it look like that we are sitting on the floor. Our tabla artist prefers sitting on the floor than sitting on a chair. Our flute player prefers sitting on the floor. I think it's just a natural thing to do, and it feels more comfortable for them. But obviously, depending on what surroundings we're in, we've got to work with what we've got.
Yep, absolutely. So you're born and bred in London. Tell me about I know you've mentioned a little bit about going to bhajans with your grandfather and singing bhajans there. How did that evolve? So this little Bhavik going along to bhajans with his keyboard, very large keyboard, and singing your bhajans. Where did it go from there?
Yeah, so from there, my mum sent me to tabla class. So my brother used to learn tabla, and she sort of sent me along. I didn't really connect with the instrument, and I remember halfway through that first lesson, I snuck out and I went next door where they were teaching singing, and she found me in there when she came to pick me up. So that's where it began. I've had a few teachers along the way who have shared their knowledge and their music. Myself, I'm Jain, so I've also done some learning about Jain. They're called stavans, so Jain bhajans, Jain stavans. So during my summer holiday, I went to India for 8 weeks, for 3 years in a row. And I stayed with this teacher there, and I just learned a whole load of new material. I also, in 2008 and 10, recorded some music there. And that was the first ever music I've ever recorded. I sound very different now, but obviously that was a long time ago, and it's a complete different sound. So listening to that, that's what you would think as traditional bhajans. It's got that very Indian sound, and there's a market for that. But to keep the next generation involved, there's got to be some change.
Yep. So what made you
it just
switch
evolved
out of that traditional style and evolve into something? I want to say more current, more modern. I know you mentioned earlier that people are surprised when they come to see you that there's a saxophone player, and he was absolutely incredible, by the way. And that's not something you traditionally hear in bhajans. You wouldn't normally have a saxophone player.
Yeah, it's taken a really long time to figure that out, and even that switch, it's only happened in the last 3 years. Actually, when the pandemic happened, because it gave a lot of us time to really do things that we enjoy more of, and I have a day job as well, by the way. So this for me is becoming more of a full-time thing, but I still have a day job. So COVID and the lockdowns gave us time to explore. We tried a lot of things, and some things didn't work. Some things did work. We have a YouTube show called Bhajans with Parik, which for the first 6 months of that first lockdown, or the first few lockdowns, we were going live every single day on YouTube, and it was just me sitting in my living room singing bhajans on YouTube on my own. And then as the lockdown started to ease, we had a tabla player, and then we brought guitarists and all these different instruments. And then we sort of saw that the response was really growing. And at the start of that lockdown period, if you looked at my demographics on all of my analytics, you would have seen the older generation. And now there still is that older generation, but the majority of it is the younger generation, which is amazing, because we've achieved a huge goal already. And now it's just before I used to get messages from the older generation saying, I'm trying to get my kids to come to your event, or I'm trying to get my grandkids to listen to this music. And now it's the other way around. I'm getting messages from youngsters saying, I just showed this video of you singing this to my granddad or my grandma. So it's amazing how that's come all the way around.
Yeah, no, you're so right, because I know you've got an event coming up in Leicester, and I was saying to my husband just yesterday, I was like, I wonder if your mum would like to go to this, and I think it's spreading that awareness that we have as a younger generation from social media and things like YouTube, where we can see your work and then actually share it with the older generation.
Yeah, absolutely. And technology has created so many opportunities, not just for us to perform, but for people to consume content, especially when they're perhaps isolated or, on their own. There's so much out there that they can watch, listen, and enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it all started for you, what was one of the first bhajans you ever learned?
So we're actually in the middle of a tour called Roots and Changes. We performed in London the weekend, and we go to Birmingham this weekend, and we're performing this bhajan on the tour. It's actually a film song. It's from the film called Lagan. One of my favorites, and actually there's something that I mention when I sing it. I'm just going to pull that up because I think it's really cool. So the song is called O Palan Hare, and in the actual film, it's essentially a cricket match, right? Between English professionals and then the local Indian team, really. And what we're trying to do with the bhajan when we perform it live is essentially we're having a battle. We're having the East versus the West. So, the song starts off with our Western instruments only. You've got the drum kit, you've got the saxophone, you've got the piano. And then I start singing, and then it goes really traditional. So all of those instruments stop playing, and then it's harmonium, tabla, violin. And we have this battle, and then at the end, we all come together, and it's like we've all won. So, yeah, coming back to your question, O Palan Hare is the first bhajan I learned.
Would you be able to give us a short rendition of it, maybe? Hello? Do we have you? Have we lost Bhavik?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
No, still here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you able to give us a couple of lines of O Palan Hare?
Yeah, absolutely. O Palan Hare, निर्गुण और न्यारे, तुमरे बिन हमरा कौनो नहीं, हमरी उलझन सुलझावो भगवन, तुमरे बिन हमरा कौनो नहीं, तुमरे बिन हमरा कौनो नहीं, तुमरे बिन हमरा कौनो नहीं.
Beautiful. That was Bhavik Haria. I'm with Bhavik this morning. This is O Palan Hare from the film Lagan, the voice of Lata Mangeshkar and Udit Narayan.
सुनो तो कहें प्रभु जी हमरी है बिनती दुखी जन को धीरज दो हारे नहीं वो कभी दुख से तुम निर्बल को रक्षा दो रह पाए निर्बल सुख से भक्ति को शक्ति दो भक्ति को शक्ति दो जग के जो स्वामी हो इतनी तो अरज सुनो है पथ में अंधियारे दे दो वरदान में उजियारे ओ पालनहारे निर्गुण और न्यारे तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं हमरे उलझन सुझाओ भगवान तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं ओ पालनहारे निर्गुण और न्यारे तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं हमरे
That is Orpal Hare from the film Lagan, the beautiful voice of Lata Mangeshkar and Udit Narayan there. So I am in conversation with Bhavik Haria this morning. Bhavik is a contemporary bhajan artist who I got the pleasure of seeing perform live a few weeks ago. And he's joining me this morning on your radio Solihull on the South Asian Hour. So Bhavik, we've talked a little bit about your early years and you learning how to sing bhajans and where it all started. Where are you now in that journey?
Great question. So now the mission is just to, or the goal is just to spread this mission and to take it as far and wide as possible. Over the last 2 years, we've hosted 8 sellout concerts across the UK. And the tour that we're taking on right now is called Roots and Changes. Roots and Changes is the name of my last album, which released in 2021. The name was born part of this exhibition we performed for during the lockdown. It was a virtual program that was streamed on YouTube, and I really connected with the name Roots and Changes, and I think that's exactly what we're trying to do with our music. We're taking our roots and our heritage, and we're bringing in some change in all aspects, whether that's the music, whether that's the way it's presented, and the way it's presented is a big part we're focusing on, and that's through concerts and events, because traditionally bhajans aren't sung in a concert atmosphere.
No, you're right.
And
when you
on
see
the other hand, a
bhajans,
bhajan concert is just like it's.
Yeah, I was just saying, when you see bhajans, normally they're in maybe a home environment or in someone's front room.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's never been presented in a way like this that I know of. And this form of music has so much more beauty. It shares so many more stories, but it's slowly fading away. So it's something that we tried. We launched the first concert at Colchester Arts Centre, a really, really stunning theatre, and it sold out. And then we put together a London and a Leicester concert that sold out. And we worked really, really hard over the last year to get support from the Arts Council to make this 3-city tour happen. So we're right in the middle of it. We've just performed in London over the weekend. And we are coming to Birmingham this Saturday on the 4th of February, performing at the Midlands Arts Centre, a venue I've wanted to come to for a long time. And then the following week in Manchester at the Empty Space. So, yeah, and seeing these rooms, these auditoriums, these theatres full out with people, with bhajans lovers, with people of all generations. You see youngsters, you see their parents, you see their grandparents, you see grandkids. And it just makes me so happy to see the room full of people supporting this mission.
Yeah, and I think what you've just said there, seeing grandkids, seeing different generations come to seeing bhajans performed. I mean, you normally see people going to concerts to see like Bollywood music or, other genres of music. But bhajans isn't one that you would normally see in a concert environment, like you said. But I think it's incredible that change is happening. Also, your very first concert that you did, the one that you said in Colchester, because I think once you've done one, you can get it on social media and say, look, this is what it's all about. How did you get people to come into that very first one?
So we, before that, we had a year and a half of virtual events, which we were doing. But it's very, like, now I could put together a 30-second promotional video with obviously footage from all these concerts. But that first one, it was a compilation of just random footage, and it was hard to fill that room out because people didn't really understand what we were trying to do. And then once we started to rehearse, we put some clips out there on social media, and I come from a marketing background, so we have a little bit of an advantage in terms of just promotion. We filled out the room, and my inbox was flooded with messages saying, when is this coming to London? Or when is this coming to my city? So that's how we did it. And as soon as we put out promotion posters right now, like, events are just getting crazy and crazy. I think we need a bigger venue for sure for next time, for London, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Mac is a beautiful venue, and that's this Saturday at the Mac. When did you say Manchester was?
Manchester was on Sunday, the 12th of February.
Sunday, the 12th of February. And how do people get tickets for these events?
Yeah. So all the ticket links can be found on my website, bhavikharia.com. We also have a little exclusive for this station. We also have 2 concerts coming up in Leicester. One on the 24th of March, which is a Bhajan evening, and Saturday, the 25th of March, so just the day after, back-to-back shows, we are doing a Bollywood Mehfil evening. So, those are 2 other events to look forward to up north.
For those listeners who have never been to a Mehfil evening before, what is a Mehfil evening?
Great question. So first and foremost, it's very informal. It's very interactive. So, lots of requests from the audience. But essentially, we'll be sharing lots of Bollywood songs, lots of older Bollywood songs, the classics, some Ghazals, perhaps some Gujarati Ghazals. It's all going to be guided by the people in the room and what they want to hear. But, artists like Lata ji, Mukesh ji, all the way to Arijit Singh, Rahat Fateh Ali Khan, we'll share as much as we can.
That sounds incredible. Are you able to maybe give us a little taster of something Bollywood that we might hear on the night?
Oh, great question.
Or you can sing us something very short.
Okay, great. Here we go. ए मेरे हम सफर एक जरा इंतजार सुन सदाई दे रही है मंजिल प्यार की ए मेरे हम सफर एक जरा इंतजार सुन सदाई दे रही है मंजिल प्यार की.
I love how you've just taken a 90s romantic Qayamat Se Qayamat, the Udit Narayan track, and turned it into something totally different.
Yeah, and that, to be honest, with our Mehfil Bollywood evenings, we add our own twist. So, you might go to a Bollywood event or a concert, and musically, we call it cut to cut, which is where the musicians and the singers and everyone on stage performs the track as it was in the original, or they try to replicate it as much as possible. But for me, I just love the freedom. So, as soon as our sound check is done, I always tell the team, today is probably the one show in a long time where you can just play whatever you want, try whatever you want, and we just try and mix it up, because I think it's important to add your own style. So, a song that might be heard really fast in the original, we might slow it down, we might play pianos on the back of it, but it's just creating a different atmosphere.
That's really exciting. I'm a dancer, and I find that really exciting when I hear something that sounds so different but so wonderful, taking it away from its original concept or the way it was originally done, but putting your own spin on it and making it into something different, but it's sounding so fresh and so new. That sounds incredible.
Yeah, I think it's really important because, if you want to listen to the original, then, just listen to the original, because obviously nothing beats that. But obviously there's times when I understand you've got to replicate it live, but I'm really looking forward to that. And it's going to be my first mehfil in Leicester after 3 years. So yeah, I can't wait.
Wonderful. I'm for sure going to try and make that, because Bollywood is my first love. To hear these tracks sung in a different style, I'm so looking forward to that. Okay, we are going to cut across to another one of Bhavik's tracks. This is Hello Maro Sambaro.
Hey, hello Maro Sambaro, Ranu Jana Rai, Viram Devna Vira Rani Netalna Bhartar Maro, hello Sambaro, oh ji re Maro, hello Sambaro, oh ji. Hey, Vaniyo ne Vaniya Jatra e jai, माल देखी चोर एने वाहे वाहे थाय मारो हेलो सांभड़ो ओ जी रे मारो हेलो सांभड़ो ओ जी रे मारो हेलो सांभड़ो ओ जी रे मारो हे ऊंची ऊंची जाड़ियों ने वच माछे जोड़ मारी नाख्यो वाणियों ने माल लग्यो छोर मारो हेलो सांभड़ो ओ जी रे मारो हेलो सांभड़ो ओ जी रे मारो बड़ा करे रे पोकार सोगटे रमता पीरने गाने गयो साध मारो हेलो सांभड़ो ओ जी रे मारो हेलो सांभड़ो ओ जी हे लीलूड़ो छे घोड़लो ने हाथ में छे तीर वाणिया ने वार्य चढ़िया रामदेव पीर मारो हेलो सांभड़ो ओ जी रे मारो हेलो सांभड़ो ओ जी रे मारो हेलो सांभड़ो ओ जी रे मारो हे उठ उठ आबड़ा दड़ मा तू जोड़ ત્રણે ભુવન માથી ગોતી લાવું ચોર મારો હેલો સાંભળો ઓ જી રે મારો હેલો સાંભળો ઓ જી રે મારો હેલો સાંભળો ઓ જી રે મારો હેલો સાંભળો ઓ જી
That is Hello Maro Sambaro. Bhavik, is that song in Gujarati?
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
And I'm assuming your mother tongue is Gujarati, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And the majority of bhajans that you sing, are they in Gujarati or are there some in other Asian languages as well?
Yeah, great question. It's a real mix. I started off obviously with the majority of it being Gujarati, but as we've performed all over the world and for different families, different communities, we've had to learn. So the majority of what I sing right now is Hindi and Gujarati. But I've got a few events coming up where I'm learning some Punjabi bhajans,
Oh.
and so it's obviously a huge challenge because of pronunciation and actually I can't read Gujarati. It's really funny because when we do events and we get requests, lots of people always write their requests in Gujarati, and then I've got to say on the mic, actually, I can't read this. Can you write it in English or come and tell me what it is? So, pronunciation has been, 15, 20 years in the making, but I've finally got a small little language of my own, which I can sort of tell what it is that I need to say or sing.
Yeah, I totally get you. I can speak fluent Gujarati, but I can't read or write it. Maybe I need to take some lessons.
Yeah.
So when the majority of your audience, would you say they are from the Gujarati community?
I think the majority of them are, good. I think it would be a mix between Gujarati and just like Hindu in general, like Vaishnav in general.
Yeah.
It's a real wide mix, and it's from all corners of the world. There was a time on YouTube when we did our yearly roundup, and we looked at our analytics, because YouTube is one of our biggest platforms where we publish sort of music. And when you look at the audience locations, it's literally all corners of the world, and it's amazing to see that with technology you can reach all of these different places.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. So if people want to listen to your tracks, where's the best place they can find them?
So YouTube, of course, has lots of full-length programs. There's lots of concerts which have been streamed on there. And also all of the music streaming platforms, so Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, all of the platforms, the music is there. You just have to search for Bhavik Haria, and you can follow or subscribe and get access to all of the music there.
Super. So your journey started off singing bhajans with your granddad and then went into concerts, but also production of the music. Tell me a little bit about the actual production of the tracks and how that works.
Yeah, so production is actually a big part of it. We do a lot of private commissions, but yeah, producing music like you've heard today, Hello Mara Sambaro and the Saraswati Bhajan, which is available on the streaming platforms. We wanted to follow the same sort of recipe of mixing instruments and sounds to create a new style of music. And it's been a really fun journey. The music you just heard was produced by someone called Rushil. Rushil is an amazing producer. He didn't really have much knowledge or experience about bhajans, but that's how I think he's really added an element of such specialness to it, because coming from someone who doesn't understand the music to then learning what they mean and appreciating the music, it just created a whole different feel.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're working on our next album, and it's a huge experiment. What we're trying to do is we've composed new tunes, so new bhajan tunes, and we're writing brand new bhajans. It's all going to be in Hindi, just so it can reach a lot more people. But yeah, it's an experiment. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to be received. We're probably halfway through, so that half of them have been written, half of them have been composed. The music has also been created now as well, and we're hoping to launch that towards the end of the year.
And do you do all your music production and recordings in the UK?
Yeah, most of them more recently have been done in the UK, just to create that fresh sound. My first two albums were made in India, but that has a very Indian feel. So yeah, we try and work with UK producers, and and also a goal for this year is to try and work for producers from other parts of the world. So, Africa, for example, or Turkey, like Turkish sound, just to bring in a different feel. And I guess a really important thing to say, I mentioned it at the start, is not everything works. So these are all experiments. These are all different things we're trying to keep this mission going.
That sounds really exciting, actually. And I actually love the idea that you're from the UK and it's produced in the UK, it's recorded in the UK. Because very often, like you said, your first two albums were in India. And did you find that those albums sounded different to the ones that you have created here?
Oh, yeah, 100%. First of all, that was made, 15, 20 years ago, but the quality, the difference, but above that, the sound, you just can't get the sound from, it's a different kind of sound. So if you're looking for that Indian sound, then, it's probably the best place to go. But if you're not, then trying something different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because we were just saying that Hello Maro Sambro, which I just played, it's got a real folk sound to it. It sounds, and I was saying it sounds like a garbo. It's got that real feel to it. But then it's got this, I'm trying to describe it. It's got this Western feel to it at the same time.
Yeah, so Hello Maro Sambro is actually a very, very old, ancient piece that was written. So when we discussed the music for that, we wanted to make sure it still had a lot of heritage. So there's lots of dhol in that, lots of heavy drums, lots of tabla, and by lots I mean that the tabla is recorded 3 or 4 times on top of each other to create that that oomph. So yeah, that heritage was important, but we also needed to bring in the slightly modern feel, which is where the electric guitars come in. And then you're bringing it back with the flute, so you're coming back to heritage, and then you're intertwining it with drums. So when producing music, you're sort of going on this journey. And we last year we produced, or the year before last now, we produced an album for a funeral directors company here in London, and it was really interesting because it was a funeral directors company wanting to produce music, because the stuff that they had was very old school, but it was stuff that other people were using, and just creating a soft new feel. So obviously it wasn't as upbeat as this stuff, but it was just something different.
Yeah, no,
it just shows the demand is there for a new sound.
Yeah, totally. It's been wonderful chatting to you this morning. I could talk to you about your music and what you have it for a lot longer. I am only available on this show until 11 o'clock though this morning. So just to wrap things up a little bit, tell us very quickly again your concert dates and where people can get tickets from.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me and allowing me to share this story and being part of this journey. It's been amazing speaking with you. 4th of February, this Saturday, we're in Birmingham. So in 2 days' time at the Mac Centre. Sunday, the 12th of February, we're in Manchester. And then the 24th and 25th, we're in Leicester with 2 back-to-back shows. All the ticket details are on my website, which is bhavikharia.com. Or all of our social media pages also have links to the tickets.
Super. Do you want to just very quickly give us your social media handles?
Yeah, absolutely. So Instagram is at Bhavik Haria, YouTube is at Bhavik Haria, and Facebook is at Bhavik Haria Music.
Nice and straightforward. So just search Parik Haria and you will find that across Instagram, YouTube and Facebook. It's been wonderful speaking to you this morning. Thank you so much for joining me on the South Asian Hour on your Radio Solihull. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you so much.
I am going to leave you with 3 back-to-back tracks now. We are going for some of my favourite sort of semi-classical tracks I've got playing for you this morning. I've been playing this one a lot recently, right? If you've been listening to my show over the last few weeks, you'll have heard this song. Pero Na Najariya from the film Kala. I've also got Shikayat from Gangubai Kachiawari with the amazing voice of Arjuna Gaur. And finishing off, we have Niti Mohan with Neno Wale. I will catch you next Thursday on your Radio Solihull with the South Asian Hour at 10 a.m. Have a fabulous week, and I'll see you all next Thursday.
किसी की याद में शामें गुजारने के लिए कलेजा चाहिए खुद को मारने के लिए के घाट मौत के हर दिन उतरना पड़ता है ये इश्क दिल में मेरी जान उतारने के लिए सुना है कि उनको शिकायत बहुत है सुना है कि उनको शिकायत बहुत है तो फिर उनको हमसे मोहब्बत बहुत है सुना है कि वो तोड़ देते हैं दिल तो हमें टूटने की भी आदत बहुत है सुना है कि उनको शिकायत बहुत है नजर करके वो देखते भी नहीं है हमारे लिए सोचते भी नहीं है नहीं सोचते भी नहीं है गुजरते हैं हम रोज पहलू से उनके मगर वो हमें रोकते भी नहीं है रोकते भी नहीं है हाँ रोकते भी नहीं है सुना है कि नफरत वो करते हैं हमसे हमें उनकी नफरत से राहत चाहत बहुत है सुना है कि उनको शिकायत बहुत है सुना है कि उनको शिकायत बहुत है शहर चाहे जीवन का वीरान कर दो मगर देख कर हमको हैरान कर दो भरम आज भी है वफाओं का हमको इजाजत है जाना खताओं की तुमको खता पर भी उनकी खफा हम नहीं है किसी हाल में भी जुदा हम नहीं है नहीं है नहीं हाँ जुदा हम नहीं है वो इल्जाम जितने भी चाहे लगा ले वफादार है बेवफा हम नहीं है हाँ हाँ बेवफा हम नहीं है हाँ हाँ बेवफा हम नहीं है सुना है कि वो भूल जाते हैं मिलकर हमें उनकी यादों की दौलत बहुत है सुना है कि उनको शिकायत बहुत है सुना है शिकायत बहुत हाँ जी सुना है मोहब्बत बहुत है हाँ हाँ उनकी नफरत से राहत बहुत है हमें टूटने की भी आदत बहुत है शिकायत मोहब्बत हाँ राहत बहुत है हमें उनकी यादों की दौलत बहुत है सुना हाँ हाँ हमने सुना है सुना है कि उनको शिकायत बहुत है नैनो वाले ने छेड़ा मन का प्याला छलकाई मधुशाला मेरा चैन रैन नैन अपने साथ ले गया नैनो वाले ने छेड़ा मन का प्याला छलकाई मधुशाला मेरा चैन रैन नैन अपने साथ ले गया पग पग डोलो रे हो पग पग डोलो रे डगमग सी मैं चलती हूँ जगमग लो सी जलती तेरे नैनों की कैसी मदिरा थर थर कांपो रे तेरे तीर से छिपती चंदन पे नाग सी लिपटी मैं बेहोश तू नशा ऐसी मोह की दशा मेरा चैन रैन नैन अपने साथ ले गया नैनो वाले ने छेड़ा मन का प्याला छलकाई मधुशाला मेरा चैन रैन नैन अपने
बहती हवा सा था वो उड़ती पतंग सा था वो कहाँ गया उसे ढूंढो। बहती हवा सा था वो, उड़ती पतंग सा था वो, कहाँ गया उसे ढूंढो। हमको तो राहें थी चलाती, वो खुद अपनी राह बनाता, गिरता संभलता मस्ती में चलता था वो। कल की फिक्र सताती, वो बस आज का जश्न मनाता, हर लम्हे को खुल के जीता था वो। कहाँ से आया था वो, छू के हमारे दिल को, कहाँ गया उसे ढूंढो। धूप में छाँव के जैसा, रेगिस्तान में गाँव के जैसा, मन के घाव पे मरहम जैसा था वो। हम सहमे से रहते कुएं में, वो नदिया में गोते लगाता, उल्टी धारा चीर के तैरता था वो। बादल आवारा था वो, यार हमारा था वो, कहाँ गया उसे ढूंढो। हमको तो राहें थी चलाती, वो खुद अपनी राह बनाता, गिरता संभलता मस्ती में चलता था वो। हमको कल की फिक्र सताती, वो बस आज का जश्न मनाता, हर लम्हे को खुल के जीता था वो। कहाँ से आया था वो,